of thought.
Get ready.
Open your mind.
Lady, cactus, lady, class, lady, Kendra, the unicorn full.
Open your mind.
You know. Thursday. Unicorn full.
Open your mind.
Lady, class, lady, Kendra, lady, cactus, lady, the unicorn full.
Open your mind.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Popular Thought Series. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you're here. Tonight, Thursday night, that night that we're always waiting for, T.L.O.T, the Ladies of Thought, the U-4 will be in the house live and direct. This week, I thought I would take it to a different level and kind of change gears a little bit because I had been reading a few articles and it disturbed me greatly. This is a topic that I talk about often. As y'all can see, the title is T.L.O.T, U-4, Denying Deviant Dysfunction. And also tonight, we're going to have, saying, tell y'all about this. Tonight, we're going to have a special guest, someone that y'all may be familiar with, Nora P. from Georgia. She's T.L.O.T Georgia. She's part of the, the T.P.O.T. She's T.P.O.T Georgia. She's part of the T.P.O.T team. She's out there in Macon County, Georgia. And tonight, she's going to come on. And she's going to talk about her experience. Y'all might have heard this before because she did talk about it some months back on a previous TPOT broadcast. But I thought, being that we were talking about this tonight, that I would get in contact with her and have her come on tonight and also kind of tell y'all what's going on with her, how she was able to come through it, and how she was able to overcome, all of the stuff that happened to her during her childhood, because she went through some horrific stuff. I ain't going to say too much about it. I'm going to let her tell y'all about it. But, she was able to come through it and overcome, and she's doing really, really good for herself right now. I'm really proud of her, to be honest. I am. So, so that's what we got going on tonight. Of course, the Ladies of Thought, I'm going to have them here, have them chiming in on it, get their take on it, get their analysis and breakdown. So I need y'all to go ahead and, if you don't mind, put a few likes right here somewhere. And also, if you don't mind, let me get it up in there. If you don't mind, you might want to drop some coins up in here. See right there? See where my hand is pointing? Right over there, somewhere, up here, somewhere. Yeah, right there, right there. Down a little lower. But anyway, you can see it. If you're feeling generous, drop a few coins in the bucket. It is greatly appreciated. Yeah, so what brought this on tonight is, like I said, I had read an article about a child that had got molested, and this child was only about 7 years old, and this child had been being touched and molested for like years, since they was like 4 years old, and nobody knew, or they were in denial of it. That's the thing. I mean, I think that is the biggest fallibility of all, the fact that it often goes denied. I feel like we should talk about this kind of stuff more. I know as Black folks, we don't like to talk about this thing. You know, it's like I said in the description box down there, it's kind of Black folks' dirty little secret. You know, we don't want to talk about it, even though probably everybody we know, or everybody we related to, or everybody that we be around, and even some of us have been through this shit. We've been through it. Okay. But we want to keep it under wraps. We want to not discuss it. We want to pretend that the person who was molesting these children 10, 15, 20 years ago, we still invite them to the Christmas party. We still invite them to the family reunion. We still let them be around the same age kids that they molested 10, 15 years ago, with no regard for anything. I don't know if we are afraid to expel these people. Okay. I don't know if we are ashamed, and our shame makes us pretend that this stuff isn't happening. I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is with us. And the thing is, it's not exclusive to us, because other people go through this too. However, it's prolific with us. If you watch my trailer, like I said, 1 out of every 4 Black boys, that's 25% of Black boys, will be molested by the time they 18. 6 out of 10, that's 60% of young Black girls will be molested by the time they're 18. That's way too many people. That's way too many children. That's way, way, way too many people. That's way, way too much denial. And that's way, way too much of a problem that could probably be staved off, avoided, addressed, if we just paid more attention and snap out of the damn funk that we're in. I know it's a touchy subject for people, because I'm pretty sure there's people who subscribe to this channel who this has happened to. Okay. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that there's people subscribed to this channel that know somebody that it's happened to, because it's that goddamn prolific. You understand? It's that prolific. So I know, like I said, I know this topic is touchy for Black folks. Okay. And guess what? It probably else is too. I probably got subscribers who have committed the shit. That's right. That's what I said. That's what I said. I probably got people in my audience who have done this shit. That's how prolific it is. Why do you think it's such a touchy subject for us? Why do you think it's such a touchy subject? Why you think why you think no one wants to talk about it? Why you think no one wants to talk about it? You know, we too busy wrapped up in other shit. And, you know, a lot of us have children, especially you women. Okay. You women, you definitely need to be taking this into consideration. You definitely need to be thinking about this. Okay. Because you are the ones that are ending up with these babies. You are the ones who have these kids who are more likely to have this happen to them because unfortunately, the children who are most likely to endure this, not saying that it's exclusive to them. What's up, Lady Ming? I see you down there.
Good evening.
What's the bad thing is, y'all, is that the children who are more likely to have this happen to them are children who have a distant relationship to their father, or a dominant male figure within that household. Those are the children who are most likely to endure this. So women should definitely be focused on this. I think women should be paying more attention to this, especially you women who aren't married, because your children are more likely to have this happen to them than other children. Not saying that it's exclusive to that, but you're just more likely for it to happen. Because see, one thing about these people who do this shit, they pick their targets wisely, you know, and they're not going to be doing it to kids who are under the protection of a Negro like me. You understand? So these are the type of things we need to get out in the air. We need to quit being ashamed to talk about them. You know why? Because it's a reality. It's a reality. It's not made up. It's not some shit that people just say happens. It really happens, and it happens to a lot of us, and we need to fix it. And I mean, we need to fix this shit yesterday, last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We need to fix this shit, y'all. We do. Okay? Many things. I think a lot of problems that are created within Black society have a direct correlation to this shit happening to children. It just does. Can't nobody tell me anything different. Can't nobody change my mind. You can't tell me. Now, maybe this isn't the end all be all. This probably ain't the silver bullet of Black society's issues. But God damn it, it's something. God damn it. At the very least, it's a crucifix, if nothing else. If you know what I mean. I mean, it may not be the silver bullet, but I think that this would help. If we was to get some type of hold over this shit, we was to get some type of hold over this shit, maybe we can start tackling other problems. You understand, folks? Lady Kendra, Lady Katz, I see y'all down there. What's going on? But anyway, the gang starting.
Hello.
The gang
How you
starting
doing?
filing. I'm good. Y'all ready for this? What the hell is going on?
Sure.
What the hell is going on my goddamn earphones? Shit. Equipment fucking up. Say something, y'all. Somebody say something.
Spaghetti.
Oh God. Say something again. Say something.
Spaghetti.
Okay. Cats always say something like spaghetti, broccoli. Well, I was telling the folks earlier, the reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight is because I had been reading some articles, you know, because my wife is always showing me all this kind of stuff, you know. She's always showing me this crazy stuff. Actually, she showed me this. As a matter of fact, let me show y'all how bad it's got. Okay, let me show y'all how bad it has gotten. Let me show you just how bad it has gotten. And mind you, this is going to be somewhat disturbing, y'all. Yes, it's going to be somewhat disturbing. But I have to show y'all this, because if I don't, I think I will be derelict in duty. Because my wife, she showed me this today, and I said, you know what, I'm going to use this on the show tonight. So, yep, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use it. All right. Let me see. Can y'all see that?
Okay, is that a grown woman? Little bitty
Yeah.
boy.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. Can y'all see that?
Okay. 62-year-old
What
nurse.
in the
Is
shitty
that
bullshit
even
is that?
legal?
Yes, as you can see, the title is 62-year-old hoe marries 9-year-old boy.
I mean, Fate's 9-year-old boy. That is not.
Yes.
That is gross.
You are
Okay, that's
seeing.
sick.
I have
That is so
a
sick.
question. Where is this boy's mother, and why is she okay with this
Well,
happening?
I'm going to get into it. Now you see here the person in the background here. Notice, do they look shocked? Look at these people. Do they have the look of shock on their faces? All these people in the background, they don't have the look of shock on their faces at all, do they? That is not the look of shock. It's not. Now, this was on my wife shared this to, she showed me this. It was on the Facebook page. All right. She shared it to the Facebook page. Now, according to, now, of course, you know, when you put something like this up, there's always some damn joker, you know, freaking that has a explanation for it. Right. And somebody, as a matter of fact, now, somebody under there wrote this. They wrote, now, let us try to put things into perspective here. I am South African. This marriage, apparently, according to the article, must have took place in South Africa. It will be very enlightening to first read the article before you judge. It is not a marriage in the true sense of the word. I am not a black South African, but I understand enough of the culture to understand how this is possible. Many, if not all, black South Africans believe in their ancestors. It is their culture and their right to believe in them. Apparently, the ancestors told the boy to marry this woman. Listen now, the ancestors told the boy to marry this woman. It continues. She is married, and her husband and children, all matured, middle age, agreed to this ritual because they believe that something bad will happen to them if they disobey the ancestors. The boy will continue to live with his own family, go to school, and one day marry somebody his own age and have a normal family. This is just a ritual to please the ancestors. That has got to be the stupidest fucking explanation of that picture that I've ever fucking heard. Yeah, it's got. I don't care what the goddamn ancestors say. My 9-year-old son would not be pretending to, mocking, or freaking dressing up to be married to some 62-year-old woman. I don't give a damn what the ancestors could come down and stand on my bed and tell me this shit, and I would have to refuse them. So this is just a stupid explanation for this picture.
Even if we accepted that explanation as making any damn sense at all, why is she kissing him in the mouth then?
That shit's a fucking lie. It's a lie. Look, I'm gonna show y'all something else. Let me show y'all. Because that's not the only picture. That's one of many. There they are. I guess that's the ring swapping. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Make it a little bit bigger if you can.
How's that? Better?
Yeah, we can see it clearly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm talking about?
I mean, so everybody turned out for this little so-called. This is sick.
And look
this
at
is just as
all
those
the
little
people.
child bride girls.
Do these people behind there look shocked? Do they look like, oh my God, what's going on here? They don't have that on their faces. They don't. They don't. Which begs the question. Hey, there they are. I guess this is the guess that's the wedding portrait. You know, you see people in the background. I guess they go on Facebook Live. You know.
And the poor baby looked confused. He looked like he
He
don't know what's happening.
he doesn't
Hey,
know what the hell is going on. She does though. She does. Oh, nasty hoe. Oh, nasty hoe. There they are again. And this is an old picture, you see, 2014. So this is 4 years ago. So he's not 9 anymore. Now he's 13, you know. Now he's 13. This is what it has come to, people. This is what it has come to, folks. Now, I don't know what the whole thing is. I mean, I don't understand it. I'm lost. Hey, Lady Classic, I see you down there. I don't understand it. Like I said, I'm just lost when it comes to this kind of crap. You know, I don't know why these people do what they do. I don't know what's going on through their minds. I just don't. And I don't want to try to understand what's going on. What I want to try to understand is how we stop the shit. That's what I want to try to understand. I'll say this again. 1 out of every 4 little black boys will be molested by the time they're 18. That's 25%. 6 out of 10 black girls will be molested by the time they're 18. That's 60%. That's way too many fucking people. I don't care what no one says. That's way too many people getting molested. And the crazy thing is, it's not like the people who are molesting these children are dropping out of fucking space. Okay. It's usually people right within the child circle of influence. Okay. That is the sad thing. It's usually people right in the child circle of influence, usually someone that the parent has given the child, has given this person access to this child. I'm going to read some things later on, but I want to ask you, ladies, looking at what we just saw here, this horrific, disgusting, despicable display of a woman. What is your take on what you just saw? As ladies, what is your take on what you just saw?
I don't even know what to think of this. This is just disgusting. Like, I don't care what supposed ancestors said. This is just weird. I mean, that's all I can really think.
This may sound, I don't know, put whatever you want to put with it. But the first thing that came to my mind was, this isn't my culture.
Mm.
So I don't really have an opinion outside of what I know, what we deem is right for wrong for our culture. Of course, I would never, even if I lived in that one, think it was right. So let's make sure that's clear. But this isn't my culture.
Mm.
So a lot of the questions that's asked, especially as it pertains to this picture, I can't answer. How they feel, what you think they think. I can't believe this is happening. Well, why not? It happens all the times in African nations and other nations like that, where they marry some rite of passageway or some archaic book that's on the law or inscribed in their heart or whatever. I mean, it's in their culture. It's by no means a way to say it's cool, because it's not, but that's what I think when I see the picture.
Anyone else?
well, for me, Stuff like that is gross. It's not really any different to me than in other countries, in Middle Eastern countries, them marrying them little child bride girls. They're 6 and 7, and they're not gonna go back home and be with their family. They going with that old ass dude that they just got hitched to, and he gonna rape her when he get a chance. Um, I know there are different cultures, this, that, and the third. At the same time, trying to have any type of sexual contact with a prepubescent child, which is literally what pedophilia is. Pedophilia literally is, sexual contact with a prepubescent. Now, people will use that word more liberally here to describe what we term as statutory rape. Like, they're not, quote unquote, at the age of consent, but they're also not like 5. So you say, oh man, that person is a pedophile when they're grown, and let's say they mess with somebody that's 15. That's not really what a pedophile is. Pedophilia is someone who mess with prepubescent, because puberty is the physical demarcation between childhood and adulthood. So if you're messing with somebody that has not come to that physical point in their lives, that's fucked up. I really don't care what culture you come from. And at 9 years old, most boys are prepubescent. They haven't hit puberty yet. Girls are barely doing that at 9. Usually girls hit puberty about 10, 11. So the same thing with boys, about 11, maybe 12, they hit puberty. And I still wouldn't advocate no grown person fucking with no kid that age either. But at the same time, we're talking about, this is a little boy. He's confused. He looked confused. And he's being raised in the same culture everybody else in that picture is in. And he seems confused by what's happening. I mean, you could think of any other type of rite of passage, you know what I'm saying? But taking it away from the cultural thing, it happened here. Just like a couple years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. It was this white dude that, quote unquote, married this little bitty girl. She was like maybe 4 or 5 here in the States, because she had a terminal illness and she was going to die soon. And she wanted to experience, I guess, getting married. I don't know whose idea that was, because little kids like that, I don't know what they know about that. And it was one of the like little nurses or interns or whatever at the hospital that did it. And they had a whole like little bootleg ceremony at the hospital or whatever. Now, they didn't show no picture of him like kissing that little girl or nothing like that. He just had like a little party hat on, and you know what I'm saying, like they had some cake, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I don't think it went any further than that moment. But it's disturbing to me regardless of cultural demarcation.
Well, to me, when I look at that, I just think about how predatory and dangerous it is. Because I think about the fact that, little girls, and little boys when they're young, they love, I love mommy. When I grow up, I'm going to marry her. I love daddy. When I grow up, I'm going to marry him. Because, the biggest love they've ever felt in their lives were for, their mom and their dad. So to see the fact that, before these children really have that part of their brains fully formed where they're making informed choices and decisions, before they've grown out of those childish notions of, the biggest love in the life that they're ever going to have are their parents. These people are marrying their children. You're going to marry your little boy or son. Now, I have seen some of these stories in Africa before about women who marry their children to try to keep, the family business or, the family money within the family because the husband dies and in their country, it is the man of the house that is able to run and control everything. She needs to get another husband, and whoever her husband is gets the money and gets all of those things. And she doesn't want that money and their business and everything her husband worked so hard for to go to other people. So she marries her children. So I mean, I've seen that, and even in that case, it still strikes me as just off and wrong because of what we know marriage to be. And oftentimes in these stories, when you look at them after the fact, it could look maybe innocent and trying to protect stuff for her kids, but oftentimes these women end up pregnant because they're sleeping with their children. So it goes to something that is really broken, obviously, within these women and really predatory. And what I worry about, obviously, is what are these young boys learning about what having a child means and what your father love or mother love is supposed to be a safe place. It's supposed to be where you learn non-sexual male or female attention, where you learn what unconditional positive regard is, again in a non-sexual way. They never learn that because the person who's supposed to be teaching them that at some point now takes that relationship and makes it marriage, and sexual or not, at the end of the day, that's going to fuck up basically any kid.
Yeah, I mean, I did a live stream a while back, and I actually showed, I had found a video clip, and this was somewhere in Africa, I don't remember where. And this lady, she had a husband, right? And the husband died. Now, when he died, she had a son. And the son, I believe he was like maybe 20, I think he was like 23, 25. Now, she was slated to marry, she was supposed to marry one of the father's brothers, but she didn't want to do that because the son had went off to college and he was educated and he had a business and he had a little bit of money. So what she did, she married her son after her husband died to keep the money, I guess, in the family because she said she didn't want any other woman getting hold of the money. They got married, and like 6-7 months later, she was pregnant by her own son, which I thought was just unbelievably twisted. But I had the wedding picture because I showed the video on my live stream. If y'all go to I made a video called Your Mama Part 1. You can see it there and you'll see what I'm talking about. Very, very disturbing shit. But I think that when you talk about what goes on, because we talk about black folks, and we have a tendency to think that this kind of shit is just exclusive to white people, but it's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, the ridiculous thing, and what a lot of people won't believe, is that this shit goes on in our society pretty much at the same amount, the same rate that it does in white folks' society. It's just that we don't talk about the shit because, see, that's one of black folks' dirty little secrets. We don't talk about how many of our kids get molested. We don't talk about how Uncle Jimmy and Grandpa and everybody else and Aunt Katie and every damn body else is messing around with the kids, and we knew about it and we didn't say shit, and we still invite Uncle Bob and Aunt Katie to the fucking Christmas party. We still invite them to Thanksgiving dinner. We still sit back and mingle and talk with them and still have children around them that are the same age of the children that they molested when they molested them 10, 15, 20 years ago. See, we don't talk about that shit. Why? Because a lot of us are in denial of it. We have this thing where we think that the shame of it, avoiding the shame of it, is more important than the fucking child's well-being. I mean, I think that that's just the case. I think that that is the case. It's that the reason why we want to keep this shit under wraps, the reason why we want to deny this deviant ass dysfunction is because we think avoiding the shame is more important than the child's well-being. Let me read y'all something. Now, I picked up an article, right? And this article says that it's more common in Black society than we think. Okay. Now, many of us think that child sex abuse is more typical among white folks, but statistics show that Blacks are sexually victimized in childhood at about the same rate as white folks. 2/3 of all victims of sexual assault, okay, in the Black society were under 18. And in 95% of the cases, the offender was a family member or an acquaintance, circle of influence. Poverty, which contributes to violence and sexual abuse in many societies, is not seen as a risk factor for child sexual abuse. They say abuse is more likely to be reported among low-income families, but is virtually undetected in families whose money or status shield them from authorities. They said African American women are less likely than white women to involve police in many cases of child sex abuse. See, that's that bullshit. All right? We done got to the bullshit. Even when they know that the shit's going on, they ain't saying shit. All right? They ain't saying nothing. They say fears about betraying the family by turning the abuser into the system, and distrust of institutions and authorities often lead Blacks to remain silent about family business, which I think is bullshit. Because see, when a child is getting victimized and molested and your Black ass know about it, that ain't family business. Because number one, it's not family, and number two, it's not business. All right? There's nothing family or business about that going on. So that's bullshit too. They say boys are also abused. Okay. They say about 14% of all young victims of sexual assault are males. Okay. 20% of the sexual abuse of boys is committed by women, which we just saw. Among African Americans, homophobia perpetuates the denial of sexual abuse of boys. That I believe. They won't say anything because they're scared of being called gay or homo or whatever the case may be. And it probably doesn't help the fact that our Black asses as adults just deny the shit when they're saying it. They say Black women report being more severely abused with greater force. They also report more upset, greater long-term effects, and more negative life experiences from sexual abuse. Meaning that when a female is abused as a child, she's more likely to have that shit have an adverse effect on her as she grows into an adult with her decision making and all that kind of shit. They say adolescents commit 23% of all of these child sex offenses. Experts say young abusers are more responsive to treatment than adults. And that I kind of believe. They say sex abusers tend to victimize more than other sexual offenders, meaning these people who are raping kids, they probably rape more kids than rapists are out there raping grown folks. You understand? They say 70% of child sex offenders had between 1 and 9 victims. 23% of them had between 10 and 40 child victims. Child sexual abusers operate in silence and isolation, the tools they use to target and control their prey. Few tend to be violent, which makes them difficult to thwart. In other words, they freaking groom the child, and give them candy and bullshit, try to convince them not to tell mama what's going on. And then telling the child that if you tell mama won't believe it. And the child tells the damn woman, and the woman don't believe the shit. I'm gonna have Nora P is gonna be coming on in a little while. I think I told y'all about Nora P before. She's T.P.O.T, Georgia. And she was abused by a child multiple times by multiple people. And I'm gonna have her come on. I think she's coming on in a little bit. I gotta hit her up. And I'm gonna have her come on. I'm have her tell her story to y'all. It's a riveting tale. It's tough to hear, but she doesn't have a problem telling it. I spoke with her today, and she said, "Yeah, X, I'll come on and I'll talk about it." She often talked about how, there was not only denial, but facilitation. And I do believe that oftentimes this stuff is facilitated by other people. Maybe not intentionally, maybe not deliberately, but I think the denial, the blaming of the child, I think all of that helps facilitate this shit. I think when a child comes and tells a parent that this shit is happening to them, even if it seems untrue, you should be trying to investigate. And what happens often, because I've talked to many people, I've probably interviewed about, not including Nora P, I probably interviewed about 4 or 5 girls who this has happened to. I think I'm gonna start putting some of these interviews up so people can see them. And every one of them damn girls that I talked to, well, they're not girls now, they're women now, but when they were girls, they said every single one of those girls, including Nora P, said that when they told, many of them, not only was it denied, their parent, their mom, blamed them, whooped them. Not only did they not believe the child, they blamed the child. If it's true, it's your fault. Now, it goes from, I don't believe what you're saying, but if you're saying it, it must be your fault. So let me ask you ladies that. Let me get a female perspective on this. Why do you think that these women are in such denial of this shit going on to these children?
For the same reason that a lot of people deny any truth. Because if you accept a truth or you accept something, then you are called upon now for an action. And it's easier to deny it. It's easier to deny that this person that you have a connection with, may be your family member, it may be your brother or sister, it may be somebody very close to you that you didn't think would do that. To now look at them not as your family member, but as a sexual predator on children. It's easier to deny that your child would be a victim of it. It's easier to deny it because then you would have to assume some accountability because it happened on your watch. So when something like that confronts many people, they are unable to accept it as a reality and move forward with it in the proper way. Because again, it calls for an action or a series of actions to then be done. I've seen situations where a person who endured sexual abuse at the hands of their biological father Biological father was raising them. He was also raping her. And the family couldn't understand why she left the house so early. I think she left the house at like 16, wouldn't come back, wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't cooperate, couldn't stand them, didn't want to come around. And so when it came out that this is why her relationship with him is nearly non-existent, that like broke her family in half, because half of them sided with her and turned against him, and the other half called her a liar and turned against her. And so I think people are afraid of all of these different repercussions, and they fail to prioritize what's actually important versus what they perceive to be important. Because see, the breaking of the family is not as important as the child welfare and how to help that child and how to help first of all, put a stop to the trauma and the abuse that the child is going through, first of all, and make sure that there's a stop to it. And then to move forward with whatever legal action you got to do against that individual, therapy that the child need now, you know what I'm saying, to help them kind of cope with what happened to them. So it's a lot to do. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of people lazy as hell and want to hold no accountability. And that's why they don't move. As sad as it is, I think that's what it is.
I would also think that there's a bit of a religious perspective to this. I know this might be anecdotal, but in my family, when one of my cousins was about to be molested, right before the person got caught, basically my grandma was like, what he did was wrong, or what he tried to do was wrong, but we should still forgive him because, you know, that's what Christians do and all that. And the thing is, the guy who tried to molest my cousin, he was one of my grandparents' foster children. And you already know, like, a lot of kids who are like wards of the state, they've been abused themselves. So she was all like, we got to have compassion and understanding because he was also molested. So, you know, it's kind of hard to look at a person like that, because it's like, on one hand, you want to feel bad for them because they too were molested, but at the same time, they just tried to molest one of your family members. And so, you know, sometimes I think it's just people trying to figure out ways to be forgiving, even if it's not 100% the right thing to do. Like, for me, I'm all like, okay, yeah, I feel bad that he was molested too, but that doesn't make it right, make what he did right either. So I think he should just go. But, you know, my grandma, among other family members, kind of just made excuses for him. So, you know, my mom was like, well, if y'all are cool with him molesting, you know, our cousin and stuff, then I'm just going to take my 2 kids out of the situation because he's not about to touch any of my kids. So.
Yeah, because it's not like they just stop at one. It's not like they
Right.
stop.
Right.
Don't stop. According to the numbers, they molest more kids than rapists rape grown folks. I mean,
yeah, and that makes sense too.
Easier.
Yeah, that makes sense because, like, the whole like sexual abuse thing, that's like they always say it's about power, and of course it's easier to have power over a child than it is to have over another adult. So that makes sense.
Well, I've unfortunately met many men who have gone through this thing where it was a babysitter, a mother's friend, even a grandmother's friend in one case that was the person who first introduced them to sex and sexual experiences. Oftentimes in a time where they weren't even trying to sneak looks at, a girl's boobs or anything like that. They weren't feeling like that. They didn't have that sex and sexuality in their minds. So for a lot of them, they try to play it off. But when you speak to them later, you speak to them one on one, or where there's not everyone hearing them, you can kind of hear that it's really been a traumatic thing. And a lot of them didn't say anything, and they didn't say anything because they told a friend, and the friend kind of said, "Oh, older lady, you're so lucky," and whatever. So they kept their mouths shut. Or there was a case where a friend of mine, he told his mother at the time, and what she had said to him was he's a man, and asked him if he was gay, basically, as to why wouldn't you enjoy it, you're a man. I hear a lot with girls, young girls who have been sexually assaulted or abused in any way, when they go to their parents, or to someone, to a trusted person, and say, "Listen, this happened to me. I'm really traumatized." The response that they often get is being blaming the victim. "I told you you shouldn't be walking around in those slutty shorts. I told you you shouldn't be flaunting around like this. I told you you shouldn't be hanging all over men," even though the man was like your uncle, and you didn't see that he looks at you differently this year because you grew a few inches and started budding or whatever. Um, and so there's a lot of blaming, and I think it's just at the end of the day, because on one side, when it comes to the boys, I think there's that expectation that the boy's gonna like it, the boy's gonna love it, and if he doesn't, there's something wrong with him. And that's an expectation that, unfortunately, unless the woman is hideous, that's an expectation that follows around these young boys, and so I think they're even less likely to tell anyone. But when it comes to the young girls, I think what it comes down to is a lot of these women have experienced sexual assault themselves. And to keep the peace, to keep the family together, to keep whatever, to keep the family shame away or whatever, they stay silent. And so they expect the same from their daughters. They think that it's normal behavior. So when they hear you trying to speak about it like it's not normal behavior, they've already warped their minds into thinking that there's nothing wrong with what just happened to them back when they were, 9, 10, 11. So when you're trying to tell them now that, there's a problem, you're a little kid and you're going to your mom, the way it's bringing up, I think, also stirring up uncomfortable memories, uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, uncomfortable things that they don't really want to face themselves. So it's a lot easier for them to turn around and just say, like, "No, there's nothing wrong with this. No, you need to hush up. No, you need to stop lying on so and so. No, you need to stop dressing so slutty and it wouldn't happen to you," or whatever. Any type of venom rather than really just addressing the facts.
It's a damn shame, is what it is. It's a goddamn shame. Um, I don't, I don't understand myself. When I was a young guy, when I was a teenager, I had a lady, jump my bones and shit, but um, I kind of, could respond to it a little better because I had been experienced with a few women, so you know, I didn't really feel like I got molested. I felt more like I got forced into doing shit, got put in a trick bag, as lady, as Lady Kensha would say. I got put in a trick bag with that shit. But when you have these children, man, and these children come to you, but I think that it more so happens, okay, like I said, it more so happens to children who are, and even the child sex abuse network says that children who do not live with both parents, as well as children living in homes marked by parental discord, divorce, domestic violence, they have a higher risk of being sexually abused. Because I mean, if a child goes to their mother and they say, "Hey, look, mom, Uncle Jimmy or whoever is molesting me," there's a pretty good chance that if this child's mother was also molested when she was young, first thing she's going to do is go into denial, say the child's lying, and blame the child, go upside the child's head, which is just the total opposite of what should happen. But see, men, we different. All right, we're different. If a child, if one of my babies come to me and say some motherfuckers touching them, my response ain't going to be, "You're lying," or "That's not true," or "Oh, it's your fault. You shouldn't be wearing those shorts." I mean, that is not going to be a man's response. It's just not. All right. It's just not. So I think what happens a lot of times is because like I said before, these people who do this shit, man, they pick their targets wisely. They know who they can fuck with, especially when you talking about them messing with little kids. When they messing with little kids, they picking their targets really, really well. They know exactly what the hell they're doing. They just do. And I think that a lot of times we have opened the door for this to happen because of how we are with our children, where we leave our children, who we trust our children with, who we have around the children. I think a lot of times we often open the door for this bullshit to come in, and then once it comes in, we fail to see the red flags because we're blinded, because it's Uncle Jimmy, it's grandpa, it's this fucking girl's boyfriend or this guy's fucking girlfriend, so we've already opened the door. So now that they're in the door, the red flags are all over the fucking place and we don't see the shit. I do believe that. I know I don't know if Lady Ming, you want to chime in on this.
Oh no, you guys summed it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that often happens too. And I say this because I talk about tonight, I titled the show Denying Deviant Behavior. And when this deviant shit is taking place, okay, throughout a family, I heard you ladies speak about, they don't want to disrupt the family. They don't want to take the proper steps to address what's going on with the child, maybe therapy, maybe counseling, getting the police involved, confronting the person who did it, whatever the case may be. I think that all that shit, those thoughts, having all of those thoughts is just totally fucking ridiculous. Okay? Because none of that shit is more important than that child's welfare. None of that shit is more important than that child's physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being. I don't give a fuck what we gotta do. I don't care if we gotta run back and forth to the courthouse for 2 years. I don't care if the police gonna be at my house with the lights flashing and shit. I mean, I don't care about any of that shit. I don't give a fuck if I got a ostracize Uncle Jimmy because Uncle Jimmy's raping the kids. I mean, that's the shit we got to get past. We got to get past the freaking embarrassment. And guess what? We got to get used to being uncomfortable with shit. I mean, that's the problem with us. I mean, anything that fucking makes us uncomfortable, no matter how dramatic it is, no matter how much it hurts us or someone else, but we will try to stave that shit off at all costs. And I think this is one thing that we need to stop freaking doing. We have to stop doing this shit, y'all. We have to stop doing it. Because what happens to a child who gets molested? Okay. You think that child is going to grow up with all type of mental issues, emotional issues. I think a lot of the over sexualization and the promiscuity within Black society is correlated to the amount of children who get molested within Black society. I believe that a lot of some of the social ills, the economic ills, a lot of the ills in everyday life within Black society, I believe a lot of the shit is directly connected to shit that happened to kids when they are small. when they're little, and they grow up not being believed. They grow up being blamed. They grow up thinking the shit is normal. How can these things not warp a person for the rest of their life? Unless they go and get some type of therapy or some type of counseling or some type of something to try to help them pass the impasse. Because basically, when this shit happened to a kid, man, their fucking childhood has been snatched away from them. It's been snatched away from them. So when something like that, you're within your growing process, man, when something like that within your growing process takes place, man, there's no way you can become a fully matured person. You can't become a fully matured person because part of your growing process has been taken away from you when you were a little kid. So no one can tell me that that doesn't fuck a lot of people up. I'm pretty sure some of them come out of it. You know, they strong. They get psychotherapy, or they go to counseling, or they do whatever. They talk to their priest or whoever. And some people come out of it. But I believe most of the people that the shit happened to don't, because boys who are molested as children are more likely to become molested themselves. Now, not all of them do, but they're more likely to. Girls who are molested, okay, they are more likely to be promiscuous. They are more likely to be sexually active at a very, very young age. A lot of these girls who are molested as children have a lot of emotional issues. A lot of them are distrustful. Same with the boys. They are distrustful of people, but at the same time yearning for attention from people, because the whole time they were looking for attention from their mother, as they were reporting this to their mother, they never got it. So they grow up in their life yearning for this damn attention that they never got because of this problem that they had maybe when they were 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. You understand? So this shit is a dilemma. I mean, if, like I said before, 60%, okay, let's just forget about the young boys. If 60% of our young black girls had the pneumonia, we would say that is a goddamn epidemic. If 60% of our female babies was born with moles in the middle of their head, we would say that was an epidemic. If 60% of our young girls were born with one arm, if they were born with if they were just being born with the flu, we would say that's an epidemic. But you got 60%, 6 out of 10 young girls getting molested by the time they're 18. And we don't think that shit's a crisis. We don't think that shit's an epidemic. Our answer is to cover the shit up. Don't say anything about it. Pretend it's not happening and just go on with our lives. And what's even worse, like I said before, what's even worse is we let people skate on this shit because of all the reasons that you ladies stated. We let them skate on this shit. And then that same person who was molesting children like 15, 20 years ago, why the hell is he at the goddamn family reunion? Why is he at the Christmas party? Why is he at the anything? Why is he at the anything? And not only is he there around children who are the same age as the children that he molested 10 years ago, oftentimes he's around the very same people that he molested 10, 20 years ago. You understand? So we got to stop this shit. We have to stop it, as if we don't got enough shit causing us to need mental goddamn therapy. We have to stop this shit. Let me ask you ladies this. Now, I said earlier when we first started that many of my subscribers, if they weren't molested, to let you know how prolific it is, many of my subscribers have probably been molested as children. Many of my subscribers probably know people that have been molested as children. Who knows? Some of my subscribers might even have committed the shit. They might have even committed it. If you do, you need to if you are one of those people, you need to unsubscribe from my shit. By the way, let me just put that out there. If you're someone who has committed this act, stop listening to my shit. Okay? Just fucking unsubscribe tonight. But I'm pretty sure that you ladies know someone that this has happened to. Let me rephrase this. Have you ladies ever been in a situation where you know that this type of shit is going on? And if you did, what did you do? Say it was a friend or a cousin or whatever. Did you know? And if you knew, what'd you do?
I'll go first because it's short and sweet. I've never been in a situation, not in my family. Never had cousins or family members molested. Never had family members accused of being molesters. I've said once before that I know people that were molested, but not enough of the details to recount them here or do anything about it. And a lot of it is in hindsight. So I really don't have much to add.
Okay.
I've known like after the fact, or like I said before with my cousin and one of my grandparents' foster kids. I knew when he got caught, but after that I kind of just stepped away and stopped contact with that person, and stopped talking to my grandparents for a little while simply because they were like allowing him to still be in their house. So that's basically all I could do because at the time I was a child. So
Yeah, for me, I've never, like, everyone that I know that was molested or as children, I didn't know at the time. When I was a kid, I was in a bubble where I didn't really know kids who were going through things like that. Maybe some who were experiencing physical abuse, never sexual abuse. I know with the kid next door who was experiencing physical abuse and we could hear it, and he had told me we used to call the police when we could hear it, like me and my family, but never had knew other people who had experienced any type of abuse. So when anything did happen to me, um, any type of weird situations, I actually did blame myself. I assumed it must be my fault because at the end of the day, it wasn't something that I was really around, or it wasn't something that I thought really happened. I wasn't experienced enough to understand that children can't be blamed for anything that an adult chooses to do. So I think that I was really lucky in that, I guess, growing up, at least there wasn't a lot of trauma and traumatized people around me, but at the same time I was unlucky, but for the same reason, because when a few strange, I will say nothing crazy, but a few strange situations, someone touched me inappropriately and I got up and ran away kind of thing, happened. I didn't really know what to do about it. And, again, I blamed myself. And, I did tell my friend when her brother tried to touch me inappropriately. And she kind of said, well, I told you shouldn't have been wearing shorts. Like, well, we were 10 and her brother was like 30. So I didn't even think like that. But, I blame myself. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell anybody. I figured it must be my fault. I shouldn't have been wearing shorts. I should have known better. So I think that everyone that I was able to find, when I was able to find people who had been through, say, similar experiences or unfortunately much worse experiences, it wasn't until I was an adult, and until, I'll say my mid to late 20s, even, that I started sharing and people started sharing back with me. So there wasn't really an opportunity, unfortunately, at that point to be able to do anything about it. And, I've never seen any children at risk or whatever now as an adult either.
Um, Real short and sweet. I found out some stuff happened. Somebody that's really close to me, but it was after the fact, well after the fact. And the person who did it, I had no clue where that person was. It was nowhere to be found. Excuse me. Um, so there was really nothing that could be done about that situation. I'm sorry, I gotta keep stuff real short and sweet because, to be real honest, this conversation triggers me. Um, um, so my answers might actually be a little short going forward because I don't know that I'm emotionally equipped to deal with this conversation tonight. So,
Okay. Well, it's a tough topic. It's a very tough topic. But you see how easy. I have four of you women here, four adult women, all from different backgrounds and different parts of the world. And 75% of you, three out of the four, was able to talk about this happening to someone. Three out of the four. That's a lot. That is a lot. Um, I think that one of the biggest problems is this. This is one of the biggest problems, besides the denial and blaming the kid and all this kind of bullshit. I think the biggest problem is this. I think that we, as Black people, we have been conditioned to think that this shit here should be overlooked. We have been conditioned to think that this shit is quote unquote normal for us. We've also been conditioned to think that, only white people do this shit. And all that shit is bullshit. It is. It's just bullshit. And we don't talk about it enough. I think. I talk about it because I got plenty of videos where I talk about it because I've interviewed these girls. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put one of these videos up because I have about 4 interviews that people have never seen on film where I have actually interviewed girls who had been molested as children. I think I'm gonna start putting some of them shits up. I don't know what the hell happened to Nora P, y'all. Nora P is actually one of the people that I had interviewed a while back. Let me try to hit up. I don't know what the hell happened to it. It's the second time you stood me up, Nora P. Time number 2. God damn it. Yeah, I have interviewed like 4 or 5 different females that this has happened to. And all their stories were pretty similar. They pretty much said what I'm saying, that, they were conditioned to believe that this wasn't that big of a deal. They were conditioned to believe that nothing should be said. You know, just let it go. One day you'll grow up and that'll be the end of it. And then you're just supposed to go on with your life as if nothing ever happened. I think that that's what we have been trained. We have been mentally trained to just go along with this shit, to act like this shit happening to us is just part of our fucking culture. And I sternly disagree with that shit. This shit is not part of our culture. And like I said, I'll say again, we need to talk about this shit more. Because if we talk about this shit more, maybe it will start happening less. Let me say that again to y'all. If we start talking about it more, maybe it will start happening less. I have grandchildren, right? And when my grandchildren come around and come to my house and shit like that, do you not know that when I talk to them, I ask them about this shit? Yeah, because I don't want them to think this subject is taboo. Okay? Pop talks about this shit to them. I sit down and I say, hey, what's going on in school? I was like, anybody touching you where they ain't supposed to be touching you at? Anybody doing anything to you that they ain't supposed to be doing to you? If they do, you're going to fucking tell me, right? I talk to them about this shit. Because, see, I don't want those kids to think that it's taboo. Because, see, once the kids start thinking that it's inappropriate to talk about it, it's taboo to discuss it, all it does is make it easier for them to be victimized. You understand? Kids need to know that it's all right to come and tell somebody that somebody's fucking doing something to them. They need to know that that's okay. I think that's a big problem too, because we have conditioned our children to think that it's not okay to come tell. That's the same thing that the goddamn rapist and molester is saying. That's the same thing they're saying. So if we are projecting that, all it does is make it easier for it to happen to these babies. That's all it is. And like I said, some of us as black people, we got to get used to dealing with uncomfortable shit, because our goddamn comfort ain't more important than those kids' livelihood. It's not more important than their emotional stability, their mental stability, their physical health. It's not. And if we think it is, we just a bunch of stupid black ass Negroes to be thinking like that. We just are. And I don't care if everybody gets mad with me and write me bullshit emails. I will say it 10 more times to you. I'll write it back to you 10 more times. We have to stop this shit from happening. We have to put a dent in this shit. Because like I said, I talk to my grandbabies about this shit. I ask them all the time, anybody touching you? Anybody doing anything to you they ain't supposed to be doing? They doing anything to you in school? They doing anything to you when you go to the store? What's going on at home? I ask them. God damn it, if it happens, you better look like telling my ass. Yeah, I tell them. Because, see, if we don't equip the children, we have just equipped the perpetrator. We have just given the perpetrator more armor. Because obviously, if we got 60% of our little girls getting molested and 25% of our little boys getting molested, there's a lot of these creeps out there. It ain't like it's only 5 or 10 of them in black society. It's a lot of them. So it's best that we keep these kids on guard and keep them up to speed and let them be comfortable about telling and make them understand before it happens that it's wrong. Often when this shit happens, like I said before, it's usually somebody within the child's circle of influence. Usually somebody that the mother has given the child access to these people, or should I say, giving these people access to the child. More often than not, it's mama's boyfriend. Okay. And what happens is we go back into the conversation or the subject of facilitation. I believe a lot of these women facilitate this shit because they have been made aware of what's going on. They have been told, and they go right into denial of it. And I think that in some crazy pseudo psychological way, I think a lot of these goddamn women see them having a daughter that this creep is willing to molest as an incentive. As crazy as that sound, I think that they are almost pleased with the fact that this fucking guy is willing to molest their damn daughter while they're there with them. You ladies think about that. What do you think about that dynamic? What do you think about these women who have these creeps in the house and they're molesting the child and the child has told, but mom's in denial? What do you think about me saying that a lot of these women facilitated and also in some pseudo psychological way think that the daughter is an incentive for the guy to continue to stay there?
Well,
Well, I've spoken on that before. How because I feel like if you facilitate it or you allow it, I feel like you are a rapist by proxy. Um, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna let somebody else speak. Brother Xavier, I hate to do this, but I might have to check out of the show early because
Okay.
I can't really contribute to this one. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna let
Okay.
someone else
Cool.
take over, and I'll talk to you later on. I'll talk to y'all later on. I apologize.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, sis. Talk to you later.
send me
all
an
right, good
email.
night, Kendra.
Send me
Yeah,
an
you
email,
have a
Lady
good night.
Kendra. All right. Peace out.
Well, I think that ultimately, when you look at it, I don't think that for the most part, unless they're really sick and damaged, I think for the most part, these women stay in denial because they would, if they weren't in denial, then they would actually have to look at themselves and realize how much they've failed, how much they've put relationships or men or how they got a man, and that keeping up with the Joneses bullshit above being a mother. And obviously, if you have set your kid up to be in a terrible position, then there's a good chance that you're failing motherhood in many other ways. So I think for them to admit that their kid isn't lying, and that this man that they are sleeping with and they brought into their house and they say they I love yous and all that stuff is really there to be on their kids, and has been, and God knows what. Like I think at the end of the day, they would have to look at themselves. They'd have to realize that they are fucked up. They have to realize that their radar about people, about themselves, about parenting is entirely off, and that they are failing, and that work is too hard, and they are too lazy, and they are too negligent. So I think that really that's more so, to me at least, that's what it comes down to.
I think that without knowing a particular person's situation, you can't really assume their motivations outside of the ones that Ruby already outlined. Those are only assumptions that we can come to without having the full breadth of information. And that's just how I
Mhm.
feel about it. That's the cut and dry of it. We don't know. We don't know if she was molested. We don't know if she's being beat up and told she can't. We don't know if she's being sexually molested and her children.
Mm.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
So I because it's so delicate, I wouldn't even sit here and try to play, Monday night quarterback on this. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I think that this situation is just too delicate for that treatment. It's not fair to the women who may be listening to this or even not listening to this, just in spirit, are in situations that we are not privy to the details of.
Mm,
I agree.
true.
But,
Well,
but, but, there's a but there. But this is what I want them to know. I want them to know that regardless of anything else, if you know this is happening to your child, if you have been made aware that this is happening to your child, I don't give a shit what you're going through. I don't give a shit what's going on in your head. I don't even care what happened to you in the past. You have an obligation to make this shit stop. You do. Got an obligation to make this shit stop happening to your kid. You do.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
100%.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
You have to, you can't let it continue, man. No matter what you did, no matter what you went through, or what's going on with you, or if you're scared of this dude, or whatever the case may be, you have to stop it. You have to stop it. You can't let it continue, you know. And like I said, I mean, I know it happens to a lot of us. I mean, a lot of us go through it, you know. The numbers prove that. But at the same time, I mean, you can't I mean, you can't just let it continue, man. You can't just sit back and say, "Well, I'm not going to say anything because it happened to me and I survived the shit." And no, 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 I don't buy that. That's a bullshit excuse. It's a bullshit excuse. It's a bullshit excuse. I mean, you can't just let the kid. It's been like I said. I mean, one thing if you're unaware of it, that's one thing. I mean, you're unaware, you don't know. Not that ignorance is bliss, but you know you don't know. But once you've been made aware of it, there is no goddamn reasoning in the world that I could possibly come up with that would make me say, okay, well, it's you know, she didn't say anything because of this. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. I think that is that is the crux of it. That is the problem. And I'm about to bring Lady Neisha on because I know she got a story to tell because she was on my show a while back and we was talking about this stuff. So I'm gonna bring her on. I don't know what the hell happened to Nora P. This is the second time Nora P done stuck my black ass up. She done stood me up time number 2. That's strike number 2, Nora P. That's some bullshit. Yeah, she was supposed to come on. I spoke to her ass today. And she's like, yeah, X, I want to come on, blah, blah, blah. But no. But no. I know this is a tough topic to talk about. I know this was a tough topic for Lady Kendra to talk about. I could tell as soon as she responded to the first question. And this is a tough subject. It's tough. That's tough. Okay. I knew it was going to be tough. It's always tough when I have these kind of shows. It's tough. It's not an easy topic. Why? Because we're not used to talking about it. We're not used to talking about it. We're not used to discussing it. We're not used to unpacking it. We're not. Because, see, this has always been the old taboo secret that no one should ever mention. Okay? Because other people do it. It's always been other people, not us. But the fact remains, and I'll say this again for the third time tonight, it is fucking us. All right? We're doing it, y'all. We're doing it. And we're doing it in big numbers. And we need to fucking stop. That's my message to all of y'all tonight. We need to stop this shit. You got kids, right? Let me address the brothers first, right? Brothers, if you have children and you're in their lives, well, if you're not in their goddamn lives, you need to get in them. But you're in their lives. You should be questioning your child. You should be asking your child shit. You should be, especially if you know the child don't live with you full time. Child don't live with you full time. You should be asking the child questions. You should be asking the child, you know, what's going on at school? What's going on at home? Is mommy boyfriend putting their fucking hands on? You know, you need to be asking this shit. You do. I mean, you just do. I know when me and my kid's mother split, I used to have my kids on the weekend. Okay. And I'd ask them shit. What's going on in school, man? What's going on? Is your mama got some nigga over there that's touching you? You know, you gonna tell me if it happened. Same way I am now with my grandbabies. I mean, you need to probe and ask questions. And I'll say again, the kids need to be comfortable being able to tell you when the shit happens. All right. But see, the thing is, most children who find themselves in this predicament are children who don't have access to a man anyway. Those are the children who are just most vulnerable. Not all of them. I mean, because you got some creeps out there who rape their own daughters and the whole nine. But for the most part, when you talk about the aggregate numbers, most of the children who have this shit happen to them are children who don't have access to a male figure, don't have access to their father. They don't have that kind of access to their father. So, it kind of makes it easier. Because, see, men and women, like I said before, we respond differently to this shit. We just do. To you ladies, okay? To you goddamn women out there who drop your kids off any damn where, okay? Who got this old creepy goddamn boyfriend, all right? That you have no problem leaving around your damn child, all right? This is what I say to you. You, number one, need to be believing these children when they tell you something's going on, okay? That's the first order of business. Number two, when something like this happens, you need to take immediate action, even if it means getting rid of the living dick, okay? Even if it means that. I know it's hard for some of you to do, but if your child is telling you that this creep is touching them, guess what you need to do? You need to address that. I mean, with the quickness. Don't let this dude continue to live there. Don't let this dude continue to have access to the child and also kind of nonsense because you think this the last dick you're going to ever have. All right? And also, even if the child isn't telling you anything, you might want to be looking for them damn red flags. That goes for the men and the women. Because one thing about children, okay, before they're poisoned and tainted with all the shit that we got inside of us, before all of that happens, guess what? They are pretty truthful and they show the signs, man. They show the signs. They just do. They show the signs. They show emotions. They show with body language. If they're very standoffish around particular people, if they are very irritable around particular people, if you got a child with a healthy appetite and now they don't eat as much, if you find a child who plays with toys inappropriately, I mean, there's so many things I can go into, all right? There's so many things I could go into. We need to start seeing the goddamn signs and we need to stop letting people get away with this bullshit. Because, see, when we allow people to get away with it, we are accomplices. Do y'all understand? We are freaking accomplices to it. What's up, Lady Neisha? What's good?
Hello.
I know you got a story to tell, so I'll give the floor to you, and then I'll come back and go ahead. Because you and I have talked about this before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Floor is yours.
So to answer some of your questions, um, this I do know other people that this has happened to. They're family members of mine. One of my other cousins was also being molested, and we oftentimes talked about it because just like her, just like me, she was being told, like, don't say anything or it's your fault. You shouldn't have worn this or you shouldn't say this or keep quiet about it, keep the family together. All these things, just family secrets. And these adults, they, things have happened to them. It's mainly the women that I know of. They were touched, stuff happened to them. And then they continue this cycle. So with their kids, including me, we're being touched, we're being molested, we're being, raped and all this stuff. And it's denial, denial, denial. They keep these men around. My aunt, she kept that guy around. And it literally took for my aunt and my mom for like cops, like physical cops, to come into the house to remove these individuals out of the house for them to get these men out of the house. No matter how many times we told them, hey, he's hurting me. Hey, mom, he's touching me. He did this. He's touching me here. He's saying these things to me when you're not around. It didn't matter how many times we would say it because they didn't believe us. They made us out to be the enemy. Oh, we're trying to ruin their relationship. It's your fault. It was always my fault. To the point to where we believed it. It must be my fault. I shouldn't have worn this day, or if I did this differently, then he wouldn't have touched me. He wouldn't have said this to me. If I act a certain way, then this wouldn't happen to me. And I was a kid. How much of my life at that time can I control? Like, you are a adult. Doing these things to children is very disgusting. I couldn't go to school. Well, I could go to school, but I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't talk about it to any other family, adult family members, of course, because then they would deny it. And they say your mom's a good mother because she wasn't on drugs. Like, that defines a good parent because someone isn't on drugs, but that doesn't say her drinking. That doesn't take, like, it. I don't understand adults at times because they make it seem as if there's different excuses and levels to things that, to excuse the bullshit. Well, your mom's a good mom because she didn't do this. Or she didn't leave you with random people, but she will leave me with her boyfriend who was physically hitting her, physically hitting me, abusing her, abusing me, touching me, doing all these things to me. But since she wasn't on drugs, it was okay because her not being on drugs was her good mother, even though she knows these things are happening. I don't understand that concept. But to the Black adults around, that is what makes a good mother. Or they say she had cancer. So that excuse because she was sick. So she couldn't be a parent because she was sick, but she still went to work. She still drove a car. She still got groceries, but her having cancer didn't stop her from doing those things, but it stopped her from protecting me, her child. But it's okay, right? Because that's what they say. It's always an excuse to them. It's never, I believe what you're saying. How can I help you? What resources can I assist you with?
Well,
And
you're
I
an
still face that today.
you're an adult
I
now, right?
feel,
How old
of
are you now?
course,
How old are you?
I'm, I'm
Lost. Did we lose her?
24.
Okay. You're 24 now. Now, looking back on that now, I guess I'll ask you the question that I was going to ask Nora P. Looking back on that now, what do you think of the people who, whether it's your mom or your the people who were in denial of it? Forget the perpetrator, forget the creep perpetrator. We all think that this is just a creepy ass motherfucker. But what do you think about the people who denied it, blamed you, told you that you were doing something wrong by being molested? What do you think of them now that you're an adult?
Well, I don't have compassion for my mother. Meaning she's dead now. So, and if she was here, I would not have her because there's just so much anger there. And I was just never how a parent can do such a thing to their child.
Did she know that was happening? Did she know? Did she
Yes,
know what was going on with you? She knew.
yes.
Wow. And she
It's not
blamed.
like I just kept it to myself. That I told her, like, he's touching me. He's doing this. He's doing that. And all she had was excuses. Why are you with him? Why don't you want to find somebody better? And she would never answer. This man was no provider. He wouldn't keep a job. It's not that he job. He just refused to keep a job. He would eat all the food in the house. Lazy, just lazy. Like he would not take proper hygiene care of himself. He was very sexist as well. So I didn't feel comfortable having people over. I didn't feel
Wow.
comfortable being in the same room as him.
How old were you?
Derogatory,
How old were you?
demeaning, dehumanizing thing.
How old were you when this was
9
going
years
on?
old, from
Wow.
9 to 15.
Wow. And throughout these 6 years that this was going on with you, I mean, you were obvious. Did you ever get to the point where you just stopped saying anything? Did you get to the point where you said, you know what, I'm not going to tell my mom anymore because she's not believing me? Did you ever get to that point?
Yeah, it got to the point where I wouldn't talk to her at all. We would speak because she made me out to be the villain.
Wow. So how does all of this affect you now? I mean, what effects has it had on you over the course of your, I mean, you're a young adult, but I mean, you're an adult now. So what effects has it had on you? You're in your adult life. Are you distrustful of people? I mean, what has it done to you?
I still, well, I recently got diagnosed with severe depression. Um, I have panic attacks at times. I also have anxiety too, along with PTSD.
Mm,
And all of it stems from these events that I faced as a child.
wow.
So at times I relive these things like nearly on a daily basis. Like I just whether it's what someone said, how someone moved, like if someone's walking behind me and they burp. Like last week, someone was walking behind me and they burped, and that triggered because then I went back into a time where he would do things like that. Like he would say mean things, burp in my ear, and like little shit like that all the time. And like I have forgot I did that. And it made me so angry and it hurt all over again. And
Wow.
certain
I know
sins,
that.
holidays. I don't care for Mother's Day. People like, oh, I didn't know your mother passed away. You've known me for 6 years. How do you not know? I shouldn't have to remind you every time I talk to you that she's dead.
Wow.
Do I miss her? Not really. No, I don't. Because when she was here, she could have corrected her wrongs, but she chose not to. To the
Mm,
day she died, she blamed me. She knew she was going to die. She still blamed me. It is what it is.
yeah, this is tough stuff. I mean, it's a tough deal. You see, three of my unicorns and dropped the hell off. Yeah, it is dropped off. I mean, this is a tough subject. This subject is tough. Um, but I think it would be less tough if we had more of these damn conversations. We need to shine some light on this shit. That's been the problem the whole time. We've been keeping the shit in the shadows. I mean, when you sunlight purifies everything. That's my belief. Okay, sunlight purifies everything. If we start shining some more light on this shit, maybe things won't be as bad. We can't keep shoveling this shit into a cave somewhere, into a dark cave somewhere. We can't, because it's happening too much, and it's fucking up too many people. It's fucking up too many people. It's got people with, we always talk about how black folks, a lot of us need mental therapy and emotional therapy and all that kind of shit. A lot of this shit that's happening is the reason why. It's the reason why. And I'll say
Right.
again, I know it's a difficult subject. It is. It's difficult. But it will get less and less difficult if we start airing it out. We need to get it out there in the sunlight. Shine some rays of sun on this shit so we can purify it, bring it out of the damn darkness. Because long as it stays in the goddamn dark, we can always pretend that it's not happening. And I think that's what we've been doing all these years, all these decades, all this time. We sit around and we pretend that it's not happening. And the reality is it happens a lot. And you know my saying, I believe reality will heal black folks. Not fantasy, not bullshit, not Kemet, not taking trips to the fucking ancient monuments in Egypt. No, none of that shit will heal black people. Reality will heal black folks. And we need to shine some light on this shit, focus some reality on it, and fix it. Stop it. Stop it where we find it, prevent it before it happens. That's my take on it. And I say this shit because I have grandkids, little grandkids, okay? And I don't know what the hell I'd do if I find out somebody was doing something to one of them babies. I'll probably be in the penitentiary because I'm probably going to put a bullet in someone's brain. That's probably what's going to happen. So to keep me from putting a bullet in someone's brain, I talk to my grandbabies. I ask them shit. I ask them questions. I tell them if anything that they feel uncomfortable with, come tell me. Come tell your mama. Come tell your daddy. Go tell your grandma. Anything that you feel uncomfortable with. You're a child. You're allowed to ask about things that make you uncomfortable. And see, I don't think a lot of us have been told that as children. We don't know that it's okay for us to ask about things that make us uncomfortable. We don't think it's okay. If it makes us uncomfortable, we shouldn't say anything to mom. We shouldn't say anything to dad. And it's perpetuated when mom don't believe the kid. Because even if they do build up the nerve to talk about this uncomfortable thing, mom shuns it. They get the fucking hand. Okay? Something else we need to stop doing. Only one of the unicorns remain. Lady Classic. Do you have any questions for Neisha?
No, I would just say, thank you for sharing your story. I know anyone who tunes into this episode because they've gone through something similar will really appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, because I know it's not easy to get up here in front of all these folks and talk about what happened to you and shit. I know that can't be easy. So, I mean, I appreciate you, coming up willing to, just be candid about it and talk about it. I mean, because like I'll say again, I mean, it's a very difficult thing, man. It's a very, very, very tough thing. It's so tough that I've lost 75% of my squad. 75% of my squad dropped off. They just couldn't take it anymore. Let me ask you this now that I got you here. I mean, going forward, right? Going forward, when you get ready to have kids, do you feel that you're going to be, more vigilant, more diligent, more, are you going to be able to see the red flags, read the warning signs? Are you going to be able to do that when you have kids because of what happened to you?
What I'm doing right now is bettering myself so that when I do have children, I'll know not to make those same mistakes or to end up in that cycle. So I have to consciously break that cycle, consciously break that mentality to not end up like my mother or the other people in my family or in the Black community who continue to perpetrate these things.
Mm.
I'm doing that right now, and I get shunned for doing that because it's not seen as cool. It's so taboo to get help, to go to counseling. Mental health is so taboo. Why? Why you want to do that? Just self medicate because Penny and Reed fixes all our problems when it doesn't. So I get laughed at for going to counseling. I'm called weird for seeking mental help for my mental health. So I'm taking the proper steps, those changes that I need to make to help heal before I decide to find a partner. And I need to be sure that I'm okay with myself because if I'm not mentally okay, physically, emotionally, I am not okay either. I don't care if I'm in the best shape of my life. If I'm not happy, if I'm mentally fucked up, everything else is fucked up as well. And I do not want to continue this cycle. And I don't want to have a kid with any and everybody or several kids and be another baby mama or another statistic because that's something that I just don't want to do. I'm not satisfied with having a child for a check because money means more than being a good person. No, I want to be sure that I am able to, when I have a kid, I can be the best parent that I can be in all aspects. Yeah, sure, I'm going to make mistakes. That's what humans do. However, I want my child to know that they can come to me, trust me, to talk about anything, and I will not turn them away, no matter how difficult or what the topic is. They can talk to me about it because I never had that. I never had a parent I could talk to about things that listened, that believed in me, that encouraged me. I want those things for myself, and I feel that I'm still searching for that, searching for someone to love me. But I'm not desperate enough to love anybody. I'm content with being alone because I'm working on myself. And I'd rather be alone than to be with anybody.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean, like I said earlier, this stuff has an effect on people. When stuff like this happens to a full grown ass adult, it affects them. more than likely for the rest of their life. So, of course, it affects a child because a child isn't even mentally mature, emotionally mature, none of that. So, this person's life is ruined as a child. They grow up thinking and feeling all kinds of crazy ass backwards shit. They have to. I mean, they got crazy, horrific ass backwards shit happening to them when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How can they not grow up with a thwarted mind frame? How can they not? How can they not grow up with that? When you got this thwarted, fucking evil, horrible, crazy, ridiculous thing happening to them that they don't even understand. They don't even understand what's happening to them. They know it's happening, but they don't have a clue to what it is. So people grow with this thwarted mind state and then become adults, and they never get it addressed. They never get it fixed. They never get any type of counseling or they never talk to anybody about it. There's no way these people aren't going to be screwed up people. And like I said, we have been conditioned to keep this shit in the fucking dark. We don't like talking about it. It makes us uncomfortable. See, me, X, I love the uncomfortable. I think we as black people need to be a little more goddamn uncomfortable. That's what's wrong with us. We want to walk around in our damn mobile comfort zone. You know, we just want to put our little mobile comfort zone on like a fucking umbrella in the rain so no uncomfortable shit hits us. Bullshit. We need to stop doing that. We need to go ahead, like I said, sacrifice our damn comfort and stop this shit from happening to these kids. Okay? I know it's rough. I know it's hard to hear. I know it is. Because I know it's some of y'all out there right now. This shit done happened to y'all. I know it has. I know it has. This shit done happened to y'all. And y'all was told to keep it quiet. Don't say anything. Let it go. Especially if it was Uncle Jimmy, Uncle Bob, Grandpa, Mama old jackass boyfriend. She definitely told you to keep that quiet. You don't want to ruin the family's name. It's all right for you to be ruined, though. You can be ruined, but the family name cannot. Think about that. The fact that the family, because you know you have whole families who be behind this shit at times. It don't be just one person sometimes. Sometimes it's a whole collective of people saying, don't say anything. But think about that. If you being ruined is less pertinent than the family name being ruined, that goddamn family name is already ruined because that's what you motherfuckers are about. You think a good reputation is worth more than the fucking child. That's what I think. The reputation of you clan of fucking idiots is worth more than this child's well-being. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Come on. It's bullshit. What's going on? What'd you say, Dark Man? Trying to donate to your account. You trying to hit the Streamlabs? You might have to go to the main page. Dark Man Jeff, and donate there if the Streamlabs ain't working. You know what I'm saying? Streamlab usually work though. I don't know what the hell's going on. God damn it. Are you trying to donate on the Streamlabs, or you trying to donate on the other joint? I'll put the other thing in the chat. That one might work. I don't know what it is, man. I be having these goddamn problems with my shit. It's like, you know, they don't want me to collect no money. Yeah, try that one, brother. Try that one. That usually works most of the time. Most of the time, it works. I appreciate the support, brother. I just hate the fact that my damn donation links is ghetto as hell. God damn it. But yeah, the family name is already ruined if this is what the family is about. Newsflash, people. Fuck the family name. I mean, because I know me, okay? Now, all my children are grown. All my children are adults now, but I do have grandchildren. If I was to find out, one of my grandbabies came to me, okay, and said, Pop, because they don't call me grandpa because that is strictly prohibited by law. And they came to me and they say, Pops, somebody doing something to me, somebody touching me, somebody. My first response would probably be so uh visceral, okay? Because the first thing I would do is go to their parent, whether that parent is my son or my daughter. That would be my first order of business, is to go to them and say, you know what? The baby just told me. And I would ask them what they know about it. Now, either one or two things is going to happen. Either myself and my son or daughter are going to pursue this allegation, or or I'm going to pursue the allegation. You understand? I'm not just going to disregard it, and I'm damn sure not going to tell them to keep it quiet to protect the damn family name, and I'm the patriarch of it. I'm the patriarch of that. And the last thing on my goddamn mind would be trying to protect the family name if one of my grandbabies came to me and told me somebody was doing something to them. I wouldn't give a shit about the name. And like I said, I'm the patriarch. All them niggas is named after me. All of them. All of them are named after me. But I wouldn't give a crap if someone was doing something to them. That is the difference. Um, we come to the end of the show. Um, I know this was tough to listen to, y'all, and I know it was tough, Lady Neisha, to get up here and talk about this. Lady Classic, you got anything you want? Any final words before we peel out of here?
No, I think realistically, more than kind of covered this topic. Like you said, it's a difficult one. It's not one that I think that anyone takes lightly. And at the end of the day, like I said, I already thanked Nisha. Thank her again for sharing her story with everybody. And I know that for the ladies, it was really difficult for us to address this topic as well today. So, I just hope at the end of the day that this topic helps somebody and helps kind of some people who are listening in the community to maybe think differently, maybe make different choices, maybe open their ears and their hearts to their children who maybe are trying to ask for help, because sometimes it's not going to be a direct ask. Sometimes it's going to be something that is very general, or it's going to be something that is, you know, the asking isn't in the actual words. The asking is in maybe looks, maybe in behavior, them acting out, something else. And, it's about taking accountability and responsibility. Right now, no one who's listening here is a child, but many people might have children. And that's the thing that you got to realize, this kind of pervasive attitude and fear that we all have, and also not just that, but discomfort. It's a very heavy topic. Think about how it feels for our children. And so just remember that not every kid is going to be able to speak out and ask for help and tell someone. No matter what you've tried to do, you think that you steeled your kids, you think that you protected your kids and whatever. As you said, you actually ask your grandkids, and that's a great place to start. But starting from as early as possible, making sure you educate your kids. Like I had a video called "Feeling Yes, Feeling No," that my parents were showing me at like 4, 5, 6 years old. um, and just remember that, as the children change through development from being younger to being, middle-aged children to being prepubescent, as far as like right there in those tweens to being even young teenagers, to remember that, the support and the asking may look really differently and the acting out behavior and stuff may look really different. It's up to you as a parent. You're going to take that onus and accountability and responsibility um, for your children and for the well-being of your children. You've also got to look into those signs and symptoms and things like that, and work diligently. And just remember that just because you trust this man or this woman, and you can't imagine this and you can't imagine that. There's a whole lot of things with the serial killers and serial rapists and stuff like that. None of their neighbors said, "Yeah, I knew he was a murderer. He was so weird." No one ever says that. Everyone always says he was the nicest guy. He was a little quiet, or "Oh, she was really sweet." Actually, that's what they say. So just remember that predators don't wear a sign on their foreheads, and as much as there are definitely the ones who look like creeps and look like perverts. There's a lot that don't at first sight. And, at the end of the day, it's about building that relationship with your kid, trusting your kid, and putting your kid first.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot, Lady Classic. Why do you think you are the only unicorn left? You're still here. Why do you think, if you could just guess, why do you think that?
Well, I think it probably has a lot to do with the fact that ultimately my training and my education is in psychology. My goal in life is to help children and young adults, really. So, these are, really uncomfortable subjects, but on another level, there is the psychologist in me that has done a lot of study and a lot of work in these subjects, because these are the topics I'm going to have to cover. These are, the patients that I'm going to be hopefully being able to help through these things. So on that level, I'm not just looking as a woman. I don't have children of my own for it to be that kind of trigger for me. And so I'm not just looking as a woman. I'm not just looking as as someone in our community. I'm also looking kind of with a psychologist's eye as well. So I think that as much as I'm incredibly uncomfortable and it is an incredibly heavy and difficult topic, I luckily kind of have had that training for years to be able to kind of help me through it.
Mm, very good. Very good answer. Um, before we peel out, do you want to tell people, um, Neisha, do you want to tell people what to look for, the signs, well, tell people what they should be peeping out for to know that this is happening if they don't already know. If they know already, I tell them they need to be stopping this shit. But for the people who don't know, can you tell them what they should be looking for if they don't know that this is happening to the babies?
Well, I think the signs are different with each child because how I acted out was not the same as how my cousin was acting out. I was dealing with it internally. So I would cut myself to deal with the pain. And that didn't work, of course, it doesn't work. Things like that. I felt suicidal. I felt that it was either me or him. Like one of us gotta go. If he ain't gonna go, then I'm gonna go. If it needs to be, I'll take him out myself. Because it was just so much toxicity, just so much negativity, you know. Um, I would say there's an online test you can take, see if you're in an abusive relationship, because there tends to be more than just one factor. Like if there's molestation and rape and stuff going on, you're most likely in an abusive relationship because this doesn't happen. So you could Google it. Google abusive relationships, the signs. And if they hit those signs, you see those signs, you need to get out. I don't care how good the dick is or how good the vagina is. It's not worth your sanity. It's not worth your happiness, especially if it's going on between you and your child, either or. It's not worth it. And if you choose to stay, then there is something wrong with you to stay in a relationship like that, where you know this is going on, where that person is doing things to you or doing things to your child unknowingly. Still, look at the signs. Go online. Look at what the signs are. They're aggressive. They're clingy. They talk down to you. They control you. The money. They're insecure. Anger. Things like that. If stuff like that is happening, they need to go. Or you need to go. Someone needs to go. Change your environment. Because I just feel that this happens too often, and a lot of people settle because they feel that they can get something better. They can get a better partner because, oh well, they said that I'm the best, that they said that they're the best that I'll ever have, and I'll never find anybody as good as them, and I'll never be happy with somebody else because they said so. If you truly believe that, then I feel sorry for you, because I feel that I can say what happened to me, and I'm going to say it every day because I'm tired of people dismissing and trying to tell me, or what's the word I'm looking for? Tell me my experiences aren't real, that they're fake. Right? I'm making it up. Oh, but you was a kid, so your mind is still growing and but this probably didn't happen because you was a kid and probably seen things differently and blah blah blah. I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I know what happened to me. Don't sit here and try to give me that psychology bullshit of your mind is still developing, so this probably didn't happen. No, it happened for years. The same thing. It's a pattern. People don't change. People do not change. Once a abuser, always a abuser. They're not going to change their ways because you said something to them about them abusing you or abusing your child. They're not going to want to change. They pick out their prey. They know a weak person when they see one. They're not going to apologize for what they did. Expecting an apology because I'm never going to. My mom is now. When it was a, I'm never going to get back because she was never sorry. If she was here, she would do it all over again. I guarantee that.
Wow.
Because to her, that man was the best thing she ever had. Even though she was paying all the bills, she was the breadwinner. doing everything, putting food on the table, all that stuff. Not him, but he got you a good man that you got to take care of like he's your child. All right, so strong. And I said, how? I don't understand what you mean by that. So if I wasn't alive, would that make me weak? I don't understand what you mean. How do I get through it? I'm dealing with it every day, so I can really answer the question. There's one way to get through something like this. We all deal with it in our own ways. Some people self-medicate. Other people hold it internally. Some people just let it go. I just want to be happy. I'm not saying I want to forget what happened because some people say forget and forgive. I'm never going to forget that. I just want to be happy. Through all the traumas. I want to work through the anxiety. I'm just now learning when I'm having a panic attack. And I've been having these since I was 9. I'm 24 now. 13 years. Not even knowing the signs of the symptoms. Sometimes I break out in hives. And I don't even know why. Now I do. I wouldn't do anything differently. Because I was a child and I could not control the things going on in my life. Now that I'm an adult, I can. And now I'm making steps for the better. And that is all that I can do. And some people are like, how come you have it in your life? Because I deserve to be happy. I deserve that. My innocence, my childhood, that was taken away from me. The time I have left on earth, I'm going to make it the best that I can from what I can control. I can't control things outside of my control. But I'm doing the best that I can. And to me, that's what matters.
Well, once again, I want to I want to thank you. You know, I appreciate you coming up here sharing this with us. I know that could not be easy to do. Um, I'm gonna say this. Often, we as Black folks, we have a tendency to focus on shit that is just straight bullshit and infinitesimal, and we wonder why we have the outcomes that we do. I believe if we start drilling down and start focusing on some of this shit, you know, because this shit is big. It's not a small problem. It's not isolated. It's not only happening to one person per year or 10% of the no. It's an epidemic. Like I said earlier, if 60% of our children were having anything happen to them, if 60% of our children had colds right now, we would think that was a fucking epidemic, a crisis. If 60% of our children had bald heads, we would think it's an epidemic, a crisis. But we don't think 60% of our little girls getting molested is a goddamn crisis. And I think that's where the problems come in at, because the onus isn't on the children. It's on the adults who aren't paying attention, who are just disregarding when they see the signs, when they see the red flags, and denying when they're made aware of it happening. That is the problem, and that is what needs to change. Good show tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Tough subject. Yeah, tough subject. I mean, this subject was so tough. 3 of the unicorns just dropped off, boy. I've never seen that. I've never seen them drop off from a topic before. I've never seen that. All right. I lost 75% of my team because of this topic. That's how tough it is. But like I said earlier tonight, and I'll say it again, we need to show some sunlight on this shit. We've been keeping it in the dark long enough. It's time to put some rays of sun on it and purify it. I need y'all now to go ahead and show some sunlight on the old Popular Thought Series Facebook page. That's Popular Thought on Facebook. 2 words, Popular Thought Series on Facebook. That is the main page. Get on down there and like, share, follow the page. You know, you can hit me up with a message if you want to. I usually answer within a day. You can always catch up with me there. You can catch up with the U-4 there, and you can catch up with Teacher Tanisha there as well. Also, stop by the TPOT bandwagon page. That page you can actually send a friend request to. I'll make sure it get clicked back quick when I get around to checking it. Also, make sure you get on down there to the Popular Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. That's the Popular Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. Go ahead, request to be a member. You'll get in there quick. I guarantee it. There's always some good stuff down there on the Popular Thought Series fan group page because it's not just me. Other people from the group post up there all the time. So you ain't just got to listen to me talk shit. There's a lot of other people in the group they be talking shit too and posting shit too. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Popular Thought on Instagram. Go ahead, follow me. You guaranteed to get a follow back when I get around to checking it. But I have been checking it more. So don't be angry at me, folks. I have been checking it more. Also, make sure you get on down there and follow us on Twitter. We have this conversation every damn week. We're going to have it again. The old TPOT Media page is at TPOT Media. That's at TPOT Media on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. I will haunt your ass in your sleep for the next month. Also, get on down there and check out the Popular Thought Series website. It's www.don'teventryi.wikifoundry.com. Get on down there. You can catch up with the U-4 down there. You can check out their bios. You can check out their group bios. And also, my black ass is down there too. You can look up my old archives from my old Nubia Hood radio days. There's actually some good shit down there, some shit down there that I have forgot that I had even done. So get on down there, www.don'teventryi.wikifoundry.com. There's some good shit. There's always some good shit down there. Also, make your way to Tribute to the Fallen. That's something that's very important to me. And also, if you have pictures, photos of people who have met an untimely death, whether it be by street violence or police violence, send me the photo and the person's name, and I'll make sure that they get on the old Tribute to the Fallen carousel so they can have tribute paid to them as long as old ex-black ass is around. Also, make sure you have your black behinds here next week, same time, same channel, because the T.L.O.T team, the Ladies of Thought, will be back live and direct with another good topic. I don't know if it'll be as tough as this one, but it will be a good topic. So make sure you have your behinds here next week right here on the old U-4 broadcast. Once again, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank my mods always in my chat room doing what they supposed to do. I want to thank you for showing up and watching and spending some time with us tonight. And also, I want to thank the U-4 for coming through. Lady Ming, Lady Cats, and Lady Kendra, even though they dropped off. And of course, Lady Classic, because she hung in there like a trooper. She the only one that stuck around for this shit. And also, I want to also thank Lady Neisha for coming on and sharing her story with us, because I know that couldn't have been easy to be talking about, you know, something like that happening to you when you were a child. So I appreciate that. I want to thank y'all for showing up tonight. And also, I want to thank you for supporting this channel. Also, before I go, I'm going to drop this here. Drop that there. So make sure you drop a few coins in the bucket if you're feeling generous. And also, drop a few likes in this here bucket if you're feeling generous with your likes. All right? I need some coins in this bucket, some likes in this bucket. If you're not feeling generous with your coins, feel generous with your likes. If you're not feeling generous with your likes, feel generous with your coins. In fact, give me some coins and some likes if you're feeling double generous. Once again, thank y'all. I will see y'all next week. I know we haven't been doing shows on Wednesday, but we will be doing a show next Wednesday. I don't know what it's about. Gonna have to tune in to find out. Know what I'm saying? But anyway, I will leave you with 3 words, like I always do.
Open your mind.
And we out of here, y'all.
All right, cheers, y'all.
Peace, folks.
Open your mind.
Lady Kendra, Lady Cat, Lady. The unicorn four.
Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
Only from T.L.O.T.